Hey guys, real quick, I just got done filming the whole video. Just want to say the video goes in order of this. I talk about aesthetics of the product between the two. I talked about efficiency between the two, between charging, the wires look. I talk about gear ratio between the two. I talk about shifting between the two. And I talk about the hydraulic oil in between the two of them. Also as well, SRAM is a paddle shift, whereas one gear down, one gear up, whereas the front derailleur works off of pressing both at the same time, whereas Shimano is just old school. This shifter controls the rear, this shifter controls the front, like everyone knows, but SRAM is a different shifting aspect and kind of paddle shifting like a car. Very cool. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Enjoy the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Hey, how's it going everyone? This is GC Performance here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the differences between the SRAM Red AXS group set and the Shimano DURA group set. Basically, I'm going to give you my standpoint on the benefits, the pros and cons between the two of the groups, between aesthetics, price point, weight, and also functionality and like efficiency between the both of them. And just give you my opinion, and hopefully it clears some up because I always get these questions. So I have here the Athos and also an SL7 over there. Based off, I'll go off with aesthetics first. In my mind, I like the way the Shimano DURA looks. I'm more of an all black type of guy. I wish they made this SRAM Red group set in an all black, maybe these chainrings all black. Some people say they look a little bit foily, some people say they look a little bit cheesy. Granted, the chrome does look nice, but sometimes it doesn't match a bike as well as an all black group set. I think that SRAM did do a good job with the design of like the one piece with the hiding the wires, where there is no wires showing. It's all wireless and stuff like that. The cassette's amazing, it looks great. The crank looks good, but I'll talk about the power meter and swapping out chainrings, the compatibility later on. But the hoods, in my opinion, this is where I kind of draw a line here. In my mind, I'm not the biggest fan of these hoods. I don't like how wide they are. I don't like how aesthetically they look. They kind of remind me of like Alien vs Predator, like the Predator head. At first, I didn't mind those first as much as I kind of saw them more and more and kind of looked over them more and more. Ergonomically, they're great. They're efficient, they're smooth, they're comfortable. But just aesthetics wise, with this massive hood, I think they can do a little bit better job of bringing that reservoir down and making it smaller. I mean, Shimano's done it for years now. I think you can do it. Granted, I think they want the idea behind it is they wanted to stand out. They didn't want to look like Shimano does, which I'll go over there. They wanted to set the precedent to be like, hey, this is what ours is. We stand out. This is our flagship product. When you see these hoods, you're gonna know it's SRAM Red. The chrome on the shift looks great. Again, that's a nice touch, and I like the idea of the paddle shifter is kind of similar to a car. But aesthetic wise, I will give this to Shimano. And this is just all my preference in terms of it, but I like this look better. More sleeker, it looks more like a natural hood. Maybe that's just because of the fact that we enjoy the look of how bikes are made and we don't like change as much. But I just think that this, I mean, the reservoir is so tiny in here, it looks great. The shifter's all black, very stealth-like. Looks similar to the hoods we have, but I'll go over shifting and everything like that as well. But the group set on here with the Shimano DURA, I like the brake calipers on here, just the all black, it looks very clean. I like the rotor look on here as well. I like the black rotors on here for the DURA. Ultegra a little bit different, but I like the options they give you for the higher end stuff. So in my mind, I think the Shimano DURA rotors as well look way cleaner than the SRAM Red AXS rotors. So just my personal take. Cassette, I'll give to SRAM Red. I think that cassette looks clean, especially in a smaller ratio. 10:26 looks clean. The chain aesthetically looks better, but I do like Shimano chains better. They're not as noisy and they're a little bit more efficient in terms of power. You get a little bit better wattage on there. But again, look of this, I like the look of this crank. I'm a huge fan of Shimano DURA cranks. I've run Shimano DURA for a while. Huge fan of the rear derailleur. I think it looks clean, sleek, minimal. Not flashy, not in your face. But very cool. And the cassette I've always been a fan of, but I wish they'd change it around a little bit. I like the mismatched colors. It definitely, you can tell the difference between the Shimano DURA and the Shimano Ultegra cassette. But I wish they'd change it up a little bit. But I will give that to Shimano, the aesthetics of it. Now, functionality of the bikes. Obviously on Shimano you have the Di2 wires you have to worry about. This is a wire thing. It really, for a consumer aspect, if you're looking to buy this and you're looking at Ultegra or Di2 DURA, it shouldn't really matter to you that these have wires, because as a consumer you're not going to be really messing around with this. It really just is more an inconvenience for the mechanic. But again, as a consumer, that shouldn't let that affect your opinion. Maybe you don't like the look of the wire sticking out here, but that's it. I mean, especially on these newer bikes where nothing's there, you don't see any cables up here like on this DURA. Even on here over here, if this was a Shimano Dura-Ace, and this was a bike sticking out, the cable for the Di2 wire would just be hugging right here, wrapped up in shrink wrap anyway, so it really wouldn't matter. So the wire shouldn't be sticking out as much. The junction box are pretty well hidden, so just think about that. A lot of people are like, oh, it has wires, I don't want the wires, I like this SRAM ETAP. If you're more worried about the wires, that's just for the mechanics, and it's just more pain in the butt for them. It's really not that big of a deal anyways. But in terms of like maybe rebuilding a bike, and you're buying a bike and building up from scratch, it might be a little more money for the build compared to a SRAM Red or SRAM Force ETAP AXS. For that situation, it's just 2 brake hoses to run. Whereas this has, you have your wire for the shifters down here, you have the wire for the seat post, you have the wire for the front derailleur, you have the wire for the rear derailleur, and then you have a pass-through box down here. Again, not that big of a deal if you're building from scratch, but they might charge you a little bit more money. So in terms of functionality there, it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt, but again, consumer related, not that big of a deal. But where it does come into is charging between the two of them. Charging on a Shimano, you have the junction box, which is right here. I hope this shows up pretty well, but there is a little charging port. Let's see if I can get it right here, where you would open this little flap up. Usually this is the SL7, so it's a proprietary area. Usually the junction box will be located inside the handlebar plug, which will go right here. And you would just basically take a proprietary plug that you get with any kind of Di2 Shimano thing. You would just plug in. The only downfall to having to plug in the bike right here is that you physically have to bring the bike inside and have it close to a wall mount unless you run an extension cord. So if your bike is dirty, if your bike is, if you don't have any plugs in the garage or inside the garage that are easy access to, it might become a little bit of a pain in the butt. Like on my Venge Vice, the junction box was underneath the bottom bracket. So every time I wanted to charge it, I had to turn the bike completely over, upside down, and completely flip it, and then put it on the seat and handlebar, and I had to plug in like that, which was a pain in the butt. Whereas the SRAM ETAP has 2 wireless batteries. This is I'll give the charging and functionality to the SRAM ETAP. There's only 2 hydraulic disc brake cables. That's it. So for integrated bar setups like this, where it's clean, very easy to do. It's very minimal. I mean, it's very easy to run. And in terms of charging, the batteries are located on the front rail right here. This little back pack right here. So I'll just hit this up. So you flip the switch, boom, like that. This battery comes off, and this literally has a little charging dock that plugs into a USB. So you plug into like a USB port, like for your iPhone or whatever. This plugs in, and you can charge your battery like that. You can take this. You can leave your bike in the garage. If it's dirty, you don't have to worry about cleaning dirty your floors. This literally just plugs into a charging dock. You're good to go. You can buy 2 charging docks to charge on once. And then in the back right here, you have one for your rear derailleur. So you have 2 separate batteries. And in a case where you're in Florida like this, if you are running a 2x setup and you forget to charge your batteries, and this is running low, you can basically take your front derailleur battery and swap it with your rear derailleur battery. So chargeability, you have 2 extra batteries, you get 1 full lifetime, because I guarantee you're not going to be shifting this battery as much as your rear derailleur. So you can just swap the batteries, get you home, charge them up, you're good to go. Charging lifetime on them, I think SRAM and Shimano are pretty close to claims. I know my numbers are going to be a little bit off. I think Shimano's are, you get 800, I think SRAM's are 800 kilometers per charge. I think Shimano's are, I want to say 1,000 kilometers per charge. It's give or take. I mean, obviously that depends on where you live at. That depends on how much you're shifting for climbing. That's a pretty rough number. Riding in Florida here, where I'm only shifting 3 to 5 gears, when I was riding a lot, like maybe 3 or 4 days a week, and I was shifting, I was probably charging every 2 or 3 months, just in my case. And that was me being overprotective and charging before I got into the red. The way you have the indication right here as well to check. Batteries are dead. I look pretty good right now. Very cool. I like that. Very cool. So both batteries are dead, but the way you would check is both these indicators have a little green light. There'll be a little LED light here and a little LED light here. It'll be green for if it's above 20%, so 100 to 20%, and if it's red, it's under 20%, and that means you have to charge it. So it'll kind of give you a little bit of warning, and that way you can know. Same for here for Shimano. The way you would check your batteries, you just press and hold down on the little switch right here. It'll give you an indication in the back. It's red, so don't worry about that flashing right there. but it's red first. That means it's under 20% as well. You have to charge that and get that going. But charging wise, again, I'm gonna give it to SRAM. I think that's very cool. You can buy 2 docks as well. And SRAM is really nice in terms of customer support with the batteries. I mean, I know that the only thing that people have complained about, which I don't get how my customers do it, but there's a little tab on this battery right here, if this will focus. See a little tab right there? And people are complaining that's what kind of holds the battery in place. That's what kind of holds the battery in place when you lock in there. And what would happen is that that will break, and sometimes people have to replace the battery for that, so SRAM will kind of warranty that out. So next is going to be weight. I got the weights right here on my phone. This was from some kind of website, Cycling Weekly product news. They're proclaiming these are Shimano Di2 disc, hydraulic disc, and SRAM hydraulic disc. No power meter, which these models have power meters, but it's saying Shimano is going to be 2,389 grams, and the SRAM comes in at 2,518 grams. So the AXS is actually heavier in terms of the Grupo. So just, you know, a couple grams there, here, there. And price point as well, I think is around 3,800, 3,900 per group as well. Shimano Di2, so keep that in mind. The price points are very similar in that aspect. So that's it. Gear ratio, I'll go over that real quick. SRAM does, I'll give that cake to SRAM. They give you way more gear ratios in terms of if you want a bike that does everything. They have a 50, this is a 48-35, they have a 50-37, and I think even a smaller than 40, they have a 46 something as well. And then the gear range in the back, they have a 10-33, a 10-28, and a 10-26 as well for gear clusters. And this is a 12-speed compared to Shimano's 11-speed. That's what's really hindering Shimano right now, is a 12-speed and not being wireless compared to SRAM. That's why they have such a leg up on it. In terms of that, the 12-speed is going to be, you have a much wider gear range. Their top end for the 50-10 is going to be stronger than like a 53-11 compared to Shimano's. Their low end for the 37-33 is going to be easier than like a, let's say a 34-28 in the rear. So you get way more gear range on here. You can have really high-end speeds or really low-end speeds on here. Whereas on here, I have my riders to ride at 53-39 in the front and 11-28. And then if they want to go to climbing, they have to bring either different chain rings or a different cassette or a different crank as if you want to change out. So it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt. But yeah, that's I'll give the gearing to SRAM for sure. And then also the one thing that SRAM does have, sorry for the rolling, but I enjoy it. One thing SRAM does have, the SRAM has the lightest power meter crank on the market. This is all one piece. It's an 8-bolt that bolts on directly onto this crank arm. This Spider is all one piece chainring. The benefit to it, the lightest chainring out in the market for power meter. Downfall to it, if you want to change your chainring, you have to buy a whole new freaking power meter. So it is a pain in the butt. So if you don't like this 48, if you don't like this 48-35, you're pretty much screwed because it comes with a power meter. So if you want to go to a 50-37, you have to buy a power meter chainring, which is $800. So downfall to that, pros and cons there. I mean, you have a very lightweight. If you buy the one you want, you're good, you're set. You can sell the other one, make even on it, you're good to go. But yeah, I think that's touch base on everything. One more thing, SRAM uses dot fluid. Shimano uses mineral oil. I will say in Florida with high heats, South Florida being like, you know, sometimes 100 degrees, 102 degrees, I have noticed some failures with dot fluid because it does expand under heat and stuff like that. I have noticed that these need more service after a while. Let's say after a while these have been sitting, these kind of expand, the fluid expands inside the reservoir, which makes the brakes lock up and push the pads against the caliper. They have to be rebled. Whereas Shimano, the mineral oil does not expand, it's just an oil. Benefit to them is that less maintenance on that one. I will say that for Florida. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that anywhere else, but in South Florida, we have that issue happen a lot. But that's going to do it for that. I hope this video has helped you guys out. I kind of want to touch base on this. I know I wanted to maybe do Ultegra Di2 versus Force. I have that as well. But those are my thoughts on it. Between the two of them, I like Shimano Di2 better. Hopefully, whenever Shimano does release a 12-speed wireless, I think they'll hit the market. But I know Shimano is just holding up. I talked to the rep and my reps and people inside of Shimano. They don't want to sacrifice the shifting quality. That's one more thing I'll touch on. Shimano shifts so much more quicker like it's way more snappier because it's a direct wire to shifter. There's no lag. Whereas the SRAM, it does shift very quick. I'm not gonna lie, it's very smooth, but it's definitely more noticeable on the Shimano that each efficient click goes into play. And also SRAM's phone app, I will say, is more better than Shimano's ETAP app. I like the SRAM phone app. It works very well. It connects very well. It's very user friendly. Whereas Shimano's E2 plugin, it's just old school. So hopefully in the future, you guys will watch my channel. You guys will see a 12-speed wireless Shimano release. I mean, this stuff's been out since 2016. I hope they do an upgrade soon on it, a reface, a 12-speed wireless. I know some SPIFO's been around, but I'm excited for it. And I think once Shimano puts this out, it'll be better for everyone because it will make SRAM step up the game a little bit more. It'll push everyone else to release better product. I'm excited for it, though. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Shimano, so. But I hope this kind of video helps you guys out. And I will see you all in the next video. If you guys have any questions, if you guys want me to do a Force versus Ultegra video, Di2 versus AXS Force in the future, let me know. If this format was kind of decent, let me know. If the camera angle made you sick, let me know. Again, guys, I can't thank you guys enough for everything you guys have been. And I will see you all next video. Thank you so much, and have a good day. Bye.